Hi, this is Trish Kendall with Choose and Become. I'm peeling an orange because I'm starving. I was delivering a leadership seminar and workshop today, the Create Enduring Success experience. And we always explore the 5 critical choices that I made on my journey from the pit to the peak. But we explore these 5 critical choices in the construct of the other people's lives at work, at home, and in their community. Because these 5 critical choices are universal. These are the choices that we each can make and do make in order to support our journey to enduring success. Now, one of the critical choices is to commit to two-way agreements. We cannot create enduring success in our lives if we are not committing to agreements with each other. These two-way agreements, whether they are with our spouse or our child, our customer, our colleague, our neighbor, our therapist, our friend, these are those non-contractual agreements, informal, if you will, but the agreements that, so oftentimes, what we explore is why commit to a two-way agreement. Two-way agreements are constructed when we care about something or we care about someone. We care about the success of something and we care about the success of someone. And our desired outcome for that something or that someone requires action on my part, but it also requires the action of others. Maybe that's one person, maybe it's a group of people, but it requires action for both parties. These two-way agreements, I think we enter into them all the time, tend to, what I have found is we tend to put, from a work perspective, more time and energy and purposeful, deliberate attention to contractual agreements, because that makes sense, right? A contract with a customer, a contract with a supply chain partner, an employment contract. These are all formal agreements and formal contracts, and pay special attention to the wording and make sure that there's agreement. And do we need to look at, like all of that stuff. But these informal agreements, we often don't put that much time and effort into them. And the fact of the matter is they could be some of the most important, if not the most important agreements that we enter into. These are our relationships. These agreements are what either help us achieve the desired outcome, the something, or help the someone. And in order to commit to those agreements, we've got to construct them. You've got to construct a true two-way agreement. And a true two-way agreement has 6 elements to it. And when I work with teams or leadership teams, we'll look at these 6 elements. And, these teams are always so awesome because we're super candid and honest with each other about where in these 6 elements do we tend to overlook or don't pay enough attention to or didn't even think about. And so we explore these 6 elements. Those 6 elements are: 1, you got to make sure that there's shared purpose. This is not my goal or your goal. It's about our goal. Like, why are we entering this agreement together? So there's got to be shared purpose. That's number 1. Number 2 is you got to build the agreement together, typically in conversation. This is not me dictating what you should or should not do. We got to have this in conversation. We both have to be a part of this. And that's also quite empowering when each person feels like they have a say in the construct of that agreement. The third element is making it clear. And I find time and time again that this third element is really where things get unintentionally messy or break down. And, make it clear would be, what specifically are my expectations and your expectations? And you could think about this as, what are the observable signs of success? What do I need to hear or see that I know you've done or that I've done, what we've committed to? In the business world, it's often called conditions of satisfaction. but we got to be super clear about what the expectations are and what done well means. And you can't do that without having conversation. The fourth element of a two-way agreement is to name the consequences. And I'm not necessarily talking about punishment. For sure, there might be things that are punitive, but these are even logical or natural consequences. Like, do we both understand what's at stake personally, professionally, for our families, for each other, for our teams, for our children, for our customer, for the project? Like, do we know what's at stake here if one of us doesn't follow through with the agreement? But the other level of consequence sometimes can be just very specifically a consequence. And when I was the first true two-way agreement that I entered into was between me and my sister. And for everybody who follows me, you know that journey. And part of that two-way agreement was that I agreed to participate in family meals 3 times a day and a meeting as a family once a week. Now, if I failed to come to breakfast in our agreement, by the way, my sister and I signed this agreement, but in our agreement, there was a logical consequence to me not coming in for breakfast. Now, for us, that logical consequence was the next day, she opened up my door earlier than 9 a.m. And, it was as simple as that because I wanted my privacy until 9. I'm digressing a little bit. The consequences don't have to be punitive, but they do need to be clear. I find that logical consequences, natural consequences, are as meaningful and impactful as punishment. You got to be clear about what the consequences are. And then 5 is say it out loud. We are not in agreement if we both can't articulate back to each other our understanding of the expectations. Verbally stating back in words that we both agree and understand, or even in writing. I've entered into two-way agreements my entire, Lily's 15 and Sam's 13 now, but we've had screen time agreements in their entire growing up. And each of those agreements we sign. There is power in signing something. You don't have to, but there is a bit of mental power if you both sign. So say it out loud. The sixth and final element to a successful, or how about this, a real two-way agreement is staying connected, staying in conversation. So how are we going to check in? When are we and how are we going to communicate with each other when things seem to be breaking down? I find with these informal agreements with relationships that shorter, more frequent check-ins is really the best way to go, because sometimes those agreements just might be 30 days or 60 days or 90 days. But you got to be able to adjust and recalibrate and reset what these agreements are. How is it working? What do we need to change? Why didn't that work? So we're agreeing to stay connected. And the stay connected, I don't think it could be squishy. Like, oh, let's just check in when we need to. For sure, check in when you need to. In addition, let's have a scheduled check-in. Is that weekly? Is that monthly? Is it at the 30-day period? Whatever that is. So those are the 6 elements of a true two-way agreement. Starts with shared purpose. Build it together. Make it clear. Name the consequences. Say it out loud and stay connected. We cannot commit to two-way agreements if we don't construct them accordingly. The power of committing to a two-way agreement is that not only does the something and the someone perhaps change and we achieve those desired outcomes, but the power of committing is also that actions that may have started out as, I have to do this, transform to I want to. Now, when I'm having these seminars and I'm delivering seminars and keynotes and workshops, there always seems to be energy around two-way agreements. And I hear a whole bunch of things. agreements with spouses, agreements with children, agreements with stepchildren, agreements with colleagues, customers, partners, business partners, whatever it might be. And it's always interesting to me when I find people reflecting on where in their lives have they been in agreement with someone and they might have felt let down, that the other person didn't follow through, didn't adhere to their side of the agreement. Or they're in agreement with someone and they unintentionally let someone down. I was let down, or I intentionally let you down, or the project wasn't successful, or the initiative didn't take off, or worse things, our relationship or our marriage is in the. And what I find is that when people choose to reflect on very purposely, why did this agreement with this person, why was it not successful? They can identify that there was a gap in at least one of those 6 elements. Oftentimes it's more than one. So if you want to create enduring success in your life and you want to help fuel the success of others, we cannot create enduring success unless we are committing to the agreements that we make with one another, whether or not that agreement is because we care about something or we care about someone. The desired outcome requires action from both people. That is why you enter into a two-way agreement. So just reflect on, is there an agreement that you're in today that might need to look under the hood on? Is something not working for both parties or one party? And which element might be missing? Or is there an agreement that you need to enter into today? A 30-day, 60-day, 90-day, whatever it is, a deliverable for a client, whatever it is. And try to think about those 6 elements, because what we want to do is start creating a habit, make it habitual that we're thinking about in conversation these 6 elements. Thanks for being along this journey with me. Choose and become.